Movies start with Clint Barton is demonstrating his talkophilia toward his young daughter on his remote farm, while his better half prepares a lunch date for them. Unexpectedly, once Thanos snaps his fingers after obtaining all 6 of the infinite stones, Clint's girl vanishes, the rest of Clint's family disintegrates, and half of all life in the universe perishes. Somewhere in space, inside a spaceship, Tony Stark and Nebula are trapped without enough fuel to return to Earth. Knowing that he will soon perish from lack of oxygen, the billionaire decides to record a message for Pepper, his wife, and apologizes for not being able to get back to her. A few hours later, Captain Marvel appears and brings them back to Earth, where they reunite with Natasha Romanoff, Bruce Banner, Steve Rogers, Rocket, Thor, and James Rhodes. They have been looking for him, but still have no idea where to find Thanos. Luckily, Nebula has an idea of where her evil father might be, because, with Rocket's help, she was able to detect the last planet where Thanos used the Infinity Gems. After figuring out how to get the Infinity Stones from Thanos, a group of superheroes decides to go after him with the mission of getting the jewels back.
I like this one.
When Captain Marvel realizes that there is no defense system preventing them from getting closer,
No armies, no ground defenses of any kind. It's just him.
And that's enough.
the team unites to attack them, and Thor rips Thanos' hand off with his axe. However, upon checking the gauntlet, the heroes realize that the Infinity Gems are not there. Thanos reveals that after making the necessary corrections to the universe, he destroyed the gems because they no longer served any purpose. Furious at this news, Thor beheads Thanos, claiming that this is what he should have done in Wakanda. 5 years later, Ant-Man returns from the quantum realm, and while walking the streets, he realizes that his world is completely different from what it used to be. He finds hundreds of tombstones with the names of people who perished during Thanos' snap. Immediately, Ant-Man runs to his house and rings the doorbell. Just then, Cassie opens the door and hugs her father. Seeing his daughter grown up, Scott feels even more confused and wonders how long he has been trapped inside the quantum realm. The next day, he goes to the Avengers office and meets Natasha Romanoff and Steve Rogers. Lang explains to Romanov and Rogers that although 5 years had gone by for them, he had only spent 5 hours in the quantum domain, where time is much more contrasting. His idea, then, is to use the quantum realm as a time machine so that the Avengers can go back in time and collect the Infinity Gems to undo the chaos that Thanos has caused. The three go to Stark to ask for his help. Stark refuses to take part in the mission because he knows he has too much to lose if things go wrong again. The second option, then, is to go after Bruce, who, after some experiments in the lab, has permanently acquired his Hulk appearance. That night, Stark is restless and creates some prototypes in his laboratory. To his surprise, he manages to find a way to time travel, but is interrupted by his daughter. After kissing his daughter goodnight, he walks to the living room to talk to his wife. When he discovers that he has been able to uncover the formula for time travel, Pepper advises him to use his genius to help people who have lost their loved ones. A few days later, with Scott's equipment and the little knowledge Bruce has on the subject, they attempt a test. However, during the test, a big mistake happens, and Ant-Man is brought back with different chronological ages. After a few attempts, Scott returns from the quantum realm at his correct age, and everyone is relieved to know that he is okay. Frustrated, Steve goes out for a breather and sees Stark's car approaching. After getting out of the vehicle, Iron Man reveals that he has managed to build a time-space GPS and says he will use it to help his friends return to the past. That afternoon, Rocket and Nebula arrive on Earth to help with the mission. Banner and Rocket travel to New Asgard, a modest settlement where Valkyrie and the remaining Asgardian overcomers have made their home. They discover Thor, who has been overcome by guilt over not killing Thanos in Wakanda. Thor has gained weight, his hair and facial hair are clogged, and he spends his free time playing Fortnite with his friends Korg and Meek, eating bad cuisine, and getting wasted. After some convincing from Rocket and Banner, Thor reluctantly agrees to return to the Vindicators. After learning from Rhodes about a professional killer who employs methods similar to those used by Barton, Romanoff decides to find him. Distressed by his family's lack, Barton has been working under the guise of Ronin, ruthlessly killing criminal organizations and cartels worldwide in an effort to improve the society that remains. He is located in Japan by Natasha, and after some convincing, he agrees to return to the squad in an effort to reunite with his family. The Justice Fighters are reunited with an agreement after Barton tests the quantum time machine and confirms that it functions. During the 2012 skirmish of New York, Banner, Rogers, Lang, and Stark went out to retrieve the time, mind, and space stones. Banner travels to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where the Ancient One informs him that removing the time stone from her schedule will stop Stephen Strange from trying to stop Caecilius from destroying the natural laws. She does, however, allow Banner to take the time stone after Banner informs her that Strange willingly gave it to Thanos, implying that Strange had anticipated a specific series of events in order for Thanos to be destroyed. In order to prevent any negative effects, Banner also ensures that the stone will return to their rightful paths. When the Vindicator witnesses the Space Stone from Loki, Lang and Stark try to seize it. When no one is looking, Stark steals the bag containing the Tesseract, and Lang causes a gentle heart failure in his former self by yanking a circuit in his fake heart. When Stark is accidentally struck by the Hulk, he drops the satchel, ruining their plan. Then, in order to escape guardianship, Loki grabs the Space Stone. Rogers succeeds in stealing the Mind Stone from the covert Hydra experts, but he is mistaken for a concealed Loki by his former self. After defeating Steve Rogers, he rejoins Stark and Lang, who now need to figure out another way to obtain the Space Stone without depleting the limited supply of Pym particles that allow them to pass through the quantum realm. While Rogers and Stark come up with a plan to steal the Space Stone from a U.S. Armed Force facility in the 1970s, and grab additional vials of Pym particles to return home, Lang returns to the present with the Mind Stone. There, Stark has a meaningful conversation with his father, Howard, and Rogers spots Peggy Carter. Before Malekith uses the Reality Stone against the Nine Domains, Rocket and Thor journey to Asgard to retrieve it. While Rocket removes the ether, the broken form of the Reality Stone, from Jane Foster, Thor is reminded that his mother, Frigga, will soon pass away and has the chance to see her again while in Asgard. After Frigga leads Thor back to Earth, he retrieves his mallet, Mjolnir, and is ecstatic to discover that he still deserves it. To obtain the Power Stone before Peter Quill does, Cloud and Rhodes journey to Morag. With two consciousnesses working on Cloud's frameworks, Cloud breaks down and remains on Morag as Rhodes uses the Power Stone to return to the present. Future Cloud is discovered by Thanos and Ebony Maw, who then proceed to kidnap her. Although it is too late, Cloud admits what has happened and tries to warn the others. As a clandestine agent, Thanos sends the more resolute Cloud back to the present after filtering her memories and discovering the Justice Fighters' agreement. When Red Skull, the Stone's custodian, tells Barton and Romanoff that they must surrender someone they love in order to retrieve the Soul Stone, they quarrel. While a distressed Barton returns to Earth with the Soul Stone, the two fight over who will be punished, with Romanov ultimately taking any punishment. Following everyone's return to the present on Earth, Stark, Rocket, and Banner embark on a quest to produce a glove that uses the stones. This glove will be made using the same nanotechnology as Stark's most recent Iron Man armor. Banner offers to use the glove to bring back everyone who disappeared in Thanos' snap, believing that he can withstand the gamma radiation, as well as the immense pain and damage brought on by using the stones. He is successful. While Bruce is receiving medical attention, Clint receives a call from his wife and is thrilled to hear her voice on the phone. Just then, the Avengers base is attacked by a ship that sends missiles to destroy the whole place. Luckily, all the team members manage to survive the attack. The former Nebula is killed by her future self while she tries to steal the Infinity Stones from Barton. As Rogers, Thor, and Stark confront Thanos, he decides he would prefer to use the Infinity Stones to destroy the universe and create a new one in his mind. During the battle against Thanos, Iron Man is stabbed and ends up fainting after being thrown away. At this point, Thor attacks his enemy with Stormbreaker, but ends up being defeated by him. The God of Thunder is about to have his chest destroyed by his own axe when Steve Rogers uses Mjolnir to strike Thanos and save his companion. Furious, Thanos gets up and strikes back with all his might. After a series of blows, Cap's shield is destroyed, and the three superheroes are unable to fight. Devastated, Rogers gets up with no hope of protecting his planet, as he believes all his companions have been annihilated. T'Challa appears before Rogers, accompanied by the Justice Fighters as a whole and other allies that Banner has revived. Thanos battles with several Vindicators for the Endlessness Stones following a protracted battle in which Quill is reunited with his former Gamora and Stark is reconciled with Parker. Clint becomes a target and has to flee from enemies in the crossfire. Realizing that his partner is in danger, Black Panther volunteers to take the artifact to Scott's van, but ends up being surrounded by Thanos. Just as T'Challa is about to be captured, Wanda appears and looks furious. When he realizes that he is losing the war, the Mad Titan orders his subordinates to use their ship to launch a rain of fire on the place, without even bothering to eliminate his own troops along with the enemies. Suddenly, the weapons change their target because an unidentified object has just entered the atmosphere. Just then, Captain Marvel appears and easily destroys the enemy ship. After taking the gauntlet, Captain Marvel is about to complete the objective. Thanos throws his sword and manages to destroy the vehicle. At that moment, the artifact falls next to the villain, and he manages to grab it. Stark receives a signal from Doctor Strange and realizes that the only chance of saving Earth is in his hands. So he starts a fight against Thanos to steal the gauntlet, but he can't get it. Thanos realizes that the Infinity Gems have been stolen. Stark transforms Thanos and his whole army into dust by transferring the Infinity Stones from Thanos' hand to his own using the nanotechnology from the new glove. He declares victory by saying, "I am Iron Man." As Stark dies from radiation exposure from the stones, Parker and Potts comfort him. After the battle, Stark's arc reactor is set out on the lake close to his house, and the Vindicators host a memorial service for him. Barton and Wanda Maximoff find solace in the idea that Vision and Romanoff, who were absent from the picture, would be happy with their victory over Thanos. Freed for the first time in his life from the burden of royalty and service, Thor installs Valkyrie as Queen of Asgard and joins the Guardians of the Galaxy to discover his real calling. Parker returns to school, where he meets up with his best friend Ned, while Barton rejoins his family. Rogers is assigned to travel back in time to restore the stones and Thor's hammer to their original timelines, but he decides to spend the rest of his life with Carter in the past rather than return to the present. He comes back as an old man before Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes, and he gives Wilson his shield and the Captain America mantle. In one short flashback, Rogers and Carter are shown in a traditional-looking home, finally sharing the dance they were never able to have in their living room. They appear to be quite happy. That was all.